Now, Sutra 21, we start to find out how you make intensive, fast progress on the spiritual path. For one whose progress is fast and whose practice is intensive, samadhi is near. Sutra 22. Progress is in accord with intensity of practice, whether mild, medium, or extremely intensive. And Sutra 23. Samadhi is quickly realized by devotional surrender to God. For one whose progress is fast and whose practice is intentional, samadhi is near. Most of the time when people think of practicing yoga or practicing meditation, that's all they're doing. It's practicing yoga and meditation at certain points of the day. But to have intensive practice, spiritual practice, means everything you do is spiritual practice. Sitting here is spiritual practice. Driving your car is spiritual practice. And even though something like driving your car may not seem like spiritual practice, remember, the key is to be always present in yourself as yourself. That is the goal of all of this, to be present in yourself as yourself all the time. And so if you're driving somewhere and your mind is distracted by thoughts, memories, emotions, other things, you're not in yourself. You're still identified with something else that's not really present in the moment. When you're interacting with people, if you're not remaining centered within yourself, usually you're always thinking about what you're going to say next in relation to what they're saying. And that could be trying to get something from them, trying to keep them from doing something, trying to alter the relationship in some way. But the key there in relationships is to simply be present and observe whatever is going on. Whatever the person's saying, just listen. Don't think, just listen. I was reading a commentary on the Bhagavad Gita by Sri Yukteswar, and I believe it was chapter 6. It was called Practice of Yoga. And he said he could summarize the whole goal of yoga in half a verse or something like that from some Shiva Purana. And basically it came down to don't think. Because that's the thing that gets you in trouble, is thinking. Okay, so all these mantras, all the things you use is essentially taking you out of your mind so that your mind can stop. Once your mind stops, then you're able to see what's actually there. And that's the point of all this, is to see reality. Now, 22. Progress is in accord with intensity of practice, whether mild, medium, or extremely intensive. How many of you know people that you might have known for a long time, and they've been meditating for 2, 3, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and they don't seem much different? Do any of you know anyone like that? Okay. Most of the time, that's because that's all they're doing is meditating. I mean, in the morning. They just meditate in the morning, they meditate at night, but they don't treat their life as a spiritual practice. One time I was at a retreat, and there was a woman there. She had been attending this retreat for 30 years, and she'd been coming here and practicing these techniques, and I said, well, how long have you been coming here? And she told me, and I said, well, gee, you must be pretty close to waking up, huh? She's like, oh, I've got a long way to go. So, I thought if someone had been practicing this stuff for 30 years, they should be somewhat, a little bit more there, or have some kind of idea of what being enlightened is about. And the thing is she's not thinking that it's possible for her. So that's the other side of the coin. You have to think that it's possible for you. Well, actually, don't think, but if you're going to think anything, think that it's possible for you. Okay. And remember, everything that you do, meditation practice, yoga asana practice, eating Ayurvedically, just being present no matter what's going on, everything that you do, you have to know that by treating it as spiritual practice, essentially what you're doing is you're holding the intention to wake up. Okay? If you're having a conversation with someone and you're saying, okay, I'm present with them, so this is part of my spiritual practice, then that interaction is holding the intention of waking up. Right? If you are practicing meditation and you know that this is going to help you wake up, then that's holding the intention. If you're practicing meditation, you're saying, well, gee, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can pull this off. This is too hard. I have too many thoughts. I'm too caught up in my emotion. I'm too caught up in my head. Then you're sustaining the intention that you're not going to wake up. You see? Okay? The way you wake up quickly is to always hold the intention that what you're doing is helping you wake up, and trusting that's the case. You don't want to force the issue. All right, I might have mentioned this before, but it's similar to if a person walks around all day long with the, what are those things called? Affirmation. The affirmation that I am in God, and God is everything. And they're just telling themselves that all day long. Well, they don't really believe it because they have to keep telling themselves that. Okay? All of you here, can all of you drive a car? All of you can drive a car. Every time you get in the car, do you say to yourself, I can drive this car, I can drive this car? No. Because you know it. You see, that's the kind of where you need to be with waking up. It's not you have to tell yourself that you're awake, that you're in God, that everything's good. You have to live from that state of consciousness. Roy Davis, the author of the book that we're working out of, and my spiritual teacher, he always says waking up is easy. All it takes is a shift of viewpoint. All it takes is a shift of viewpoint, that's correct. But if you're not used to thinking that way, it can be a problem. Because there's so many habits and tendencies that keep you still functioning in this old way that it takes practice to break those old mental chains. And that's what yoga practice does. That's what meditation does. Because when you're meditating, hopefully, even if you have thoughts and things going through your head, you know you're not those thoughts. So then you can just observe them, and there they are. It's not you, they're just out there. And the more that comes home into the heart, into your everyday experience, the easier it is for you to change your states of consciousness and maintain a clear awareness. Because you can still have negative stuff going through your head, but you can still live effectively because you know you're not that negative stuff. Ignore all those things that tell you you're not there, because you are there right now, okay? It's just you're listening to things which are not true. And you need to listen to what is true. And what is true is silent and is still and is present right here. Okay, let's take a moment. I just want you to just take notice of whatever you're experiencing right now. Don't look anywhere else. Just keep doing what you're doing. Keep listening. But pay attention to what's going on here. You hear sounds. You feel your feet against the floor maybe. You feel your clothes against your body. You feel yourself breathing. You know there are people around you. That's what's in reality right now. Whatever else you're thinking about has nothing to do with right now. And that's what you're working towards, to always be in this reality, in this moment. And it's not what you think it is, it's just what is, you see. It's what is. Samadhi is quickly realized by devotional surrender to God. That's Sutra 23. What that means is, you, at least in my experience, when I first started meditating and practicing this kind of work, this inner work, I thought I had to do things to make something happen. Okay, I had to meditate hours a day, or I had to read these books, a lot, all the time, because by doing that, I was waking myself up. That is one thing that starts to recondition you, so that you understand the principles behind what's actually happening to you. But when you surrender your practice to God, when you surrender your life to God, you automatically experience that stillness inside. Think about it this way. When you're meditating, again, this is coming from my experience, I found that I'm thinking about all the different things I have to do in the day, in the week, in the year, things that have happened to me in my life, people I have to interact with. And all I was doing was thinking about those things, and it was getting in my way. And one time it occurred to me, I was just sitting there, I thought, oh, well, God's taking care of all of that. Like, I don't have to do anything. And when that occurred, that I don't have to do anything, think about that. Imagine that right now, you don't have to do anything at all.